Your face is being licked by a warm tongue. You think it's your lover from a dream showing affection. Then the dog lifts its mouth and licks the back of your hand. You wake up, later after dinner as you sit on the couch. It licks you again. Then when a stranger walks in, it licks again. Same tongue, you might think it's sick, but you'd be wrong. This is important because so many people in these seemingly trivial moments end up building an oversimplified story. They assume the dog wants attention, is weird, obsessed with taste, or they think it's just dog nature. And then the moment passes, you wipe your hand on your jeans, stand up, keep moving, and miss the ancient connection that just happened between your body and theirs. So before you chalk it up to taste, hunger, or constant signaling, slow down. Notice where it happens. Notice what your body is doing. Notice if the dog licks you during quiet moments, under stress, during reunions, or in those weird little pauses when your emotions are blank. From your perspective, it's intimacy. From the dog's perspective, the body is like a moving weather system. Salt on your skin, the temperature of your wrist, subtle changes in your breathing, they're all being sensed. Dogs live just a few inches off the ground, and they're naturally wired to read tiny changes in chemistry, pressure, and rhythm. So when its tongue lands on your hand or forearm, it may not be emotional at all, it's gathering data. This may sound colder than people want to believe, but it's actually more intimate. Dogs don't need your explanations or a polite day report. Your nervous system has already sent enough info. Sweat carries stress chemicals, skin oils shift, breathing patterns change. Muscle tension affects how you cross a doorway, how your heels hit the floor, and even how long you pause. Licking can be part of intimate touch, the same category as social mammals keeping bodily contact. But it doesn't mean the dog is thinking I respect you, I worship you, or I'm ranking you. That's a human interpretation. In reality, the body is doing something more precise and less poetic. The tongue is collecting chemical data from your skin, salt, oils, stress, sweat. When licking repeats, especially at the edge of tension, the fantasy breaks. Repeated licking is often a self-soothing cycle, not unlike humans picking at nails, tapping under the desk, twisting hair, or checking their phone over and over. A dog's rhythmic licking can shift its arousal state. Endorphin release is part of it, and the effect on the autonomic nervous system is another part. Repetition helps the body transition from sympathetic activation to parasympathetic control. This is crucial, because a dog's stress isn't always obvious, like barking, pacing, or obvious fear. Sometimes it looks gentle, quiet, persistent. The dog comes into your space, licking your hand, wrist, forearm over and over, as if completing some invisible task. If this pattern suddenly increases, don't just chalk it up to personality. Look at the load, HPA axis activation, cortisol levels, accumulated stress the body hasn't cleared. Here's a key distinction. If the target is its own body, especially one spot, you have to go beyond psychology. Repeated self-licking can indicate physical discomfort, skin irritation, pain, inflammation, gastrointestinal issues, or allergic load. If the target is you, it's a different story. This calm explanation is helpful. It removes guilt and fairy tale thinking. You don't need to read every lick as loyalty, nor panic over each one. Just don't assign the same emotional meaning to every lick. Start noticing patterns, intensity, timing, and context. Once you do, the behavior is no longer mysterious, and it becomes the starting point for the next layer of meaning. If you've ever pulled your hand away thinking, did I reward the wrong thing? Did I miss a problem? Did I fail to understand it in time? Am I letting it down? Take a deep breath. This part is important. Not every lick is a test you must pass. Not every moment requires perfect interpretation. You are not being graded by a creature living in smell, tension, rhythm, and micro changes. So if your first impulse is self-blame, relax. Even thinking about what the dog means shows you're paying attention. Feeling unsettled shows the relationship matters to you. That's more important than most people realize. Dogs don't need a person who decodes every second perfectly. What helps more is someone willing to pause, notice, and stay present. letting the picture come into focus. That's why this shouldn't be another responsibility, another test. It should be liberating. Its licking isn't proof of failure, it's usually proof that communication is still happening even without words. Your nervous system's carrying more info than usual. Not getting it immediately doesn't push it away, information just needs a moment to surface. It doesn't mean you're bad with dogs. Sometimes the most healing shift is simply to stop treating moments as judgment. Just treat them as information. Your dog walks over, licks once, looks down the hallway, or sits next to you, or stares at your face waiting. It's not moral accusation, it's a living, moving signal. Once you see it this way, the interaction softens, your body softens. Chest loosens slightly, shoulders drop a bit, thoughts stop racing toward "I screwed up," and shift to, "Oh, this is just us trying to understand each other." This is gentler than any next layer analysis, so don't treat it as homework, don't make a chart. Don't turn the next 10 licks into an experiment. Do one small thing next time the dog licks you. Sit on the floor for 2 minutes, that's it. No instructions, corrections, or immediate interpretation needed. Lean back against the couch or bed, feel your legs touching the floor. Notice if your breathing is short or naturally lengthening. Notice if your shoulders drop half an inch. Notice whether the mental noise from 5 seconds ago is interrupted by warm breath, a wet nose, nearby pause, or the tiny rhythm of another nervous system. Most people think understanding starts in the mind, but for animals it often starts in the body. Your dog approaches, you stop moving, and the somatic system receives clear signals from the ground. Breathing becomes more noticeable. The sympathetic nervous system is no longer the sole driver of this moment. Sometimes that alone is enough to soften the whole scene. You don't need to judge in real time whether the lick means affection, stress relief, curiosity, comfort, or confirmation. Let the meaning remain open for a minute. Observe the sequence. What happened just before? What changes occurred in your body as it happened? What did the dog do next? If this interaction brings you back into your body, it's not weakness, it's your nervous system recognizing a connection that can be restored without performance. Try this tonight or tomorrow, and notice one thing. What changes first? Your breath, your shoulders, your thoughts, or the dog's behavior? I want to know which tiny moment pulled you out of the day. Tonight, do one restorative thing. Sit on the floor for 2 or 3 minutes. Notice if your breath lengthens, shoulders start to drop, and notice how long rumination takes to break. This is for your restoration, not a performance review.